Good morning. It is Sunday. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about family court bias and how the system is set up to exacerbate conflict. It is set up to stretch out the conflict as long as possible because that is the way that family courts profit the most off of family conflict in child custody. Whichever parent is the most degraded in court, whichever one is the most defamed, I want you to consider that when the judiciary supports that kind of conduct. In my humble opinion, I believe that sort of denial of parental rights, infringement on one parent's ability to spend time with their children, interference when it's unwarranted, when there's no evidence that should be going on. What I want you to keep in mind is that extreme level of bias and judgment against a person, simply on the grounds it seems to be in a lot of cases that the judge just doesn't like that person for one reason or another. But in terms of denial of them the ability to parent, they don't seem to have legitimate grounds. This sort of mental state of the judge that does this reminds me a lot of the mindset that tyrannical leadership in the past and history have had when it came to certain groups of people. Hitler comes to mind. There are a whole lot of examples in history where a certain person or group of people felt entitled to disenfranchise other groups of people simply on the basis of their background, their beliefs, whatever it might be. So we certainly can't say that a judiciary that engages in this sort of behavior are not behaving in ways that we've seen from history are extremely destructive to large groups of people. Some people might think that this comparison is too extreme. But from my perspective, when you isolate a parent that wants to spend time with their children, when you prevent them from the ability to do that, when you increase the likelihood of suicidal ideation, not only in that parent being denied time, but also in the children that are being denied time. When you do that, you are creating substantial harm in that family unit. Now, as a judge, you may feel entitled to do that because you really don't care about the harm that you're inflicting on others. But as we can see from history, tyrannical behavior comes with consequences. So, even though those consequences may not be faced right away, I think you have to consider that when you inflict abuse upon people, whether it's at a small nuclear family level or at a much larger level, like in the case of Hitler and the Jews, eventually that bad behavior, there's going to be a way that you're going to be held accountable for that. You can't do that to people and not face consequence eventually. People that are doing this, it's understandable if you're the parent receiving that ill treatment. It's understandable if you become angry at them. But do your best. I know it's difficult. Do your best to rise above it, because what you need to really do is pray for these people that have that cognitive mindset that is so destructive, because they're going to need your support and prayers, because they're on a path to destruction, whether they see it or not. There is no one, I don't care what your position is in government, in politics, whatever it is, there is no one out there that is above God's judgment. And it doesn't have to be you that sees to it that God's judgment is fulfilled. God will make sure that things are set right. And the best thing you can do is just steer clear of that carnage. God bless.